For this week's In Focus, we're taking a closer look at the watchmaker everyone loves to love, and can't pronounce, Lange Söhne. With a level of quality that defies belief, Lange Söhne truly deserves a week in the spotlight, and that's exactly what we're giving it. As well as these videos, you'll also find some great articles being posted over the week at watchfinder.com, and other fun stuff on our Instagram channel too. Details in the description below. For now, let's take a look at 3 things you didn't know about our Lange Söhne. Looking to buy, sell, or exchange a premium watch? Visit Watchfinder, the pre-owned watch specialist. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and maybe share this video with someone you think will enjoy it. It may seem meaningless, but it directly impacts the future of this channel. Thank you. So how many watches do these watchmakers make per year anyway? To hazard a guess, you'd say that number was pretty low, what with the exclusivity and all. Whilst there's no definitive answer for how many tickers come out of the Rolex factory per annum, industry sources place that number somewhere around the 800,000 to the million mark of watches per year. That's a lot. Laid out end to end, they'd still be shorter than the waiting list for a Daytona. But Rolex, that's your everyday watch, the one you wear when you fix your motorbike and fight bears and whatever it is people do outdoors these days. And our Lange Söhne, it's a bit more special than that. A lot more special. We're talking more in the region of something like a Patek Philippe. By comparison, Patek Philippe makes some 60,000 or so watches every year, less than 7% what Rolex does. And that's because it's a much more prestigious brand, of course. Each watch requires more care and attention from the 2,000 employees working for the business, and thus the output is lower. Like Audi said of its R8, it's the slowest car it's ever built, and the same is true of Patek Philippe. Quality takes time. So how many watches would you wager our Lange Söhne manages every year? The same as Patek Philippe? A bit less perhaps? Half even? Try 5,000. A microscopic 10% of Patek Philippe's output, and barely 0.5% of Rolex's. The reason its numbers are so low? The watch itself. There are simply not enough people capable of producing this level of extreme quality, that many would say pips even Patek Philippe, in the Saxony region our Lange Söhne is based in, to make more. And the training, done in-house, is so extensive that boosting those numbers is almost an impossibility, enrolling less than 20 students per year. The only other option to make more watches would be to make them faster, to sacrifice quality, and that's an absolute no-no. For this incredible German watchmaker, compromise just isn't an option. One of the reasons even an entry-level watch from our Lange Söhne commands such a plump asking price is how it's built. We're talking hand-finished parts assembled by some of the finest watchmakers in the world. We've already established just how unique and sought after these people are for their craft. If you laid them out end to end, they probably wouldn't get any work done. So you would say that their time is precious, that every minute of their experienced attention is best spent doing the job right, and therefore doing it just once. Well, you'd think so, but our Lange Söhne does things a little differently. Follow along with me here. Every our Lange Söhne watch starts in its component parts, which are then carefully assembled by a highly skilled watchmaker. With me so far? Good. Then, the watchmaker takes it all apart. Madness. But it gets madder still, because faced with the same pile of parts they started with, the watchmaker proceeds to assemble the watch a second time. Now hang on, you must be thinking. Why don't they just build it once, build twice as many, and double their profit? Aha, now that makes sense to any ordinary person, but when you're as obsessive as Lange Söhne, you may as well be asking them to get the teenage intern to build it. The reason behind this bizarre, almost compulsive behavior may not be efficient, but it is incredible. The famous three-quarter plate style found on so many Lange Söhne watches brings class-leading rigidity to their movement, but it also comes at a cost. Where separate bridges are easily adjustable, the single plate is not, and so repeated removal of the plate to make adjustments is required. And because this interaction can leave marks on the components, however faint, it's only after this process is done that the components are properly finished and cleaned before final assembly, leaving the movement as close to perfect as possible, even if it does have to be built twice. If you've spent even 5 minutes around watchmakers, you'll have noticed such extreme overuse of a single word that it will have lost all meaning. Heritage. Heritage is to watchmaking like carbon is to all of life. Without it, there is none. If you laid out every instance of the word end to end, it would reach the moon and back. Not our moon, Kepler 1625b's, and that's not even in our solar system. And there's an unwritten rule. The more instances of the word you find, the less likely the brand is to have earned it. It's like a placeholder for the real thing, what annoying writers call show, don't tell. If you've got heritage, show me some examples, don't just tell me you have it. No more present is this phenomenon than in watch companies that borrowed their name from a business long since deceased. It's part of the 3-phase plan to starting up a modern watchmaking firm. Step 1, revive an old name. Repeat the word heritage over and over again for step 2. Step 3, profit. It's just the way of things. Lange Söhne, on the other hand, flips this whole thing on its head. Look on its website, in its press releases, anywhere, and you won't find the watchmaker directly stating the most prominent piece of heritage a watchmaker can have, its founding in 1845. This is when Ferdinand Adolf Lange received approval from the Royal Saxon Ministry of the Interior to start his watchmaking business, and indeed the entire industry of watchmaking in the now famous region. Why is this? Well, a century later, Lange Söhne's factory was bombed, destroying it completely. Then, under Soviet rule, the watchmaking region was compiled into one singular entity, producing watches under rule of the state. It wasn't until the reunification of Germany in 1990 that Lange Söhne was free to operate under its own name again, when Walter Lange, Ferdinand's great-grandson and himself a watchmaker, revived the business from the rubble. Literally, from the rubble. There was not a scrap of the watchmaker as it had been in its heyday, of which to speak. Everything you see now is born of those new beginnings, inspired by the legacy of Walter's lineage, from his memory of the family business as it had once existed. Officially, the company as it stands today was founded in 1990, not 1845. A technicality of the most pedantic kind, I'm sure you'd agree, and one most other watchmakers would, and very often do, gloss over. But for Lange Söhne, this is the kind of exacting level of attention to minute detail that most would ignore, that makes it wholly unique in its quest for perfection. They think differently, more critically, more transparently. Ferdinand Lange believed that the entire pursuit of a watchmaker should be the perfection of each and every watch, and indeed of the business itself. So instead of pushing their heritage, they go against the grain and choose to talk with their watches instead. Show, don't tell. We'll be back soon with some more Lange Söhne based facts for you to enjoy, but in the meantime, why not head over to watchfinder.com and catch up on our latest articles, where you'll get to enjoy even more about this incredible watchmaker. You're welcome to come and join the conversation over on Instagram as well. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed for the next one. Discover more exceptional watches at Watchfinder. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. If there are any watches you'd like to see featured, please let us know in the comments below.